Hello there, and welcome to another Gas It Out episode. And while it's not the sweariest episode we've produced ever, it's also not the cleanest. Most likely down to the fact that 2 out of the 3 participants had or were having a beer. And today's guest, Cal Crutchlow, doesn't drink, so you do the math. Of the remaining 2, one had definitely had more than the other. His lockdown drinking does not get any better, God help us. Anyway, more than usual, this is going to be like being down the pub with your mates without the scampi fries. So enjoy.
Oh my God, perfect timing.
Why is that?
Well, if you could have seen the last 10 minutes of what I've been doing, like I've been flat out.
I just tell me that it's something clean.
But obviously it's something clean. But you text me, right? You said to me, let me think. It's about a week ago.
Right.
You went, we should have a few beers because we're doing Cal at night time.
No,
you did.
I said we should have a beer in hand. I've got a beer in hand.
Oh, bloody hell. I got carried away, right? So
Oh God. You're not 3 sheets to the wind, are you? Oh, you've had 4 what? Shandies?
I've had 4 pint cans, right? So I'm merry, right? But then you messaged me to
Oh,
say,
God.
I'll call you at 7:40.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've loads of time. And I look, bear in mind, I've got like food on the barbecue. Vic's like, she's just broken up because it's bank holiday. So she's on the gin and tonic. Life's good. And then I get your message and I think, oh yeah, plenty of time. And then I thought, oh, actually, I've got 20 minutes to cook this, eat it, and get talking to you. And literally, I've just finished my last mouthful. And here I am. Merry Christmas.
Bloody hell. Bloody hell.
Sorry. So
right.
yeah, I'm merry, but I'm not pissed. I'm not.
Oh God! Right. First of all, welcome back everybody to Gas It Out, and this could be the one where finally we get taken off air.
Oh God!
Apple or whoever is in charge of this nonsense. So are you done now? Oh, sounds like a bird outside. Are you outside? Are you doing this outside? Is this a different location? Are you not in your pants on your bed?
No, I'm still in the office on the bed, but I've got the skylight open because it's hot. So I've been sunbathing. Oh my God, I'm so burnt. It's all. You should see my sunburn. But you know what I'm like? I'm vain, aren't I? So sun's out, shirts off.
Sun's out, guns out, standard.
And I had that conversation. Does anybody else have this inward conversation where they go, sun's out, it's going to be out all day. There's no rush. Put a bit of sun cream on. But that vain part of you says you need to be burnt. You need to get a suntan. So why would we bother with cream? Yeah, so obviously I'm not bothered with cream.
It's not a logical step. Like you can go sunburn without going. You can get suntan without going beyond, without taking the next step.
No, you're saying that because you've lived in Spain. I'm talking this from a British perspective.
Right.
You understand where I'm going
also
with that?
lucky. I've been quite lucky. I don't generally burn, which I'm quite lucky with that. There have been a few times though where we've been on air, we've been on the telly a bit red-faced because we've just been in the scorching heat of wherever it may be.
You're one of them though. You're one of them who gets completely burned and then goes brown the next day. I'm one of them who goes completely burned and then I just look a mess the next day as my skin starts to flake off my face.
Yeah. What are you drinking, by the way? Pint cans. I'm assuming that you're on cooking lager again.
Oh, hang on. I've had a text off Cal. Hang on. Call me at 8, mate. I'll be ready.
I've just sent him a message. Why don't you reply to me? Yeah. Cheeky git.
Yeah.
I'm assuming,
pint can.
You're on cans of Foster's or something, Carlin?
Shut up. No, Carlin. God almighty, what an insult. I'm a Kronenberg man, right? Kronenberg. Right. If there's anyone that's got anything to do with Kronenberg that's listening to this, if there's any deals to be had.
I thought you'd be on the cotton gin or at least drinking Swarthy.
Oh my God, the cotton gin. So, hey, Gav, still not arrived?
Well, I think they've got to make it first. They didn't have a still, if you remember.
Yeah, fair point.
When we spoke to them. I'm on a Northern Monk, which is a local Leeds brewery on an Origin, which is nice.
That sounds like a name drop if ever there was.
No, just should I tell you why I've said it? I've got glasses of theirs, and it's in the glass that says that name on it. But it's not a name drop. I wouldn't do that. You know me. I'm not like you.
No, you're not as shallow as me.
Exactly.
Hang on. Cronenberg.
I'm just gonna check the time on my Folex watch.
Yeah.
So what else have you been up to?
Well, do you know what? I'm going to be honest because I've had 4 beers. I've been doing a lot of nothing. So I've been sat at home like everybody else, probably watching the Rob Mac memories on Twitter.
Yeah,
loving it.
And Steve Brogan's as well. He's piped up with a couple, hasn't he? Your mate.
My mate Brogy, who he's out of racing. I've got some very good friends. Brogy's probably my best mate. Just love the man, and he's helped out. He's got stuck into the Rob Mac memories, where basically there's a lot of ex-racers or current racers just telling stories from their career. It's been so entertaining. So I've had one of them days, sat in the sun with no sun cream on, watching Rob Mac memories through and through, just loving it.
Oh, that sounds good. How's your hair looking, by the way? Mine's getting to an absolutely ridiculous stage, having done the little trim last week. Just out of interest, because when I saw you on TV at the weekend, didn't actually look too bad.
It looks good, doesn't it? Well, I get back to how vain I am. I have spent, let me think now, I'm going to say a good hour messing around, shaving the sides, cutting the top.
Okay, so you've done it yourself. You have gone for, like I did, and then Kate was going to help, and then I wouldn't let her. Have you allowed Vic to get stuck in?
We tried that, and just when you're in lockdown, if you want to argue with your partner,
it's the key.
Just let her touch your hair. Yeah. Oh my God, it was not good at all. It was like a firework. Honestly, it was an instant like argument. I just and she's going, "Why are you shouting?" And in one of them conversations, I'm not shouting, but actually, as I said, I'm not shouting. I realised I was shouting. It was one of them. So
yeah, the shout. I'm just raising my voice.
Yeah. So I realised it was going to be a DIY job. So I've done it myself, and it looks all right actually. And being a tight northerner, I'm now thinking, like I'm sure you're the same.
Forever.
Do I need to spend 20 quid every time I get my hair cut?
You spend £20?
Well, I don't, but it's 15 quid, but I always tip them. So, because I'm like that.
Salt of the earth, aren't you? Just flashing
keeping it real.
Around, a full 25% tip or whatever.
Hey, hang on. I'll tell you what I did do. So, I don't listen to lots of podcasts, and I've started going walking in the mornings. Get up, go for a walk, and then come back and have breakfast. So I've been doing like about a half an hour walk. So I've been listening to podcasts, and I was looking at people that I like. So I thought, I quite like Frank Skinner. So I thought I'll listen to like one of his podcasts.
Yeah, he does like an Absolute Radio one, doesn't he?
Exactly,
like Absolute Radio. Saturday morning program on.
Oh my God, it's crap. I was so disappointed. I genuinely mean that. I was like, I'm walking along.
On air review, here we go.
And I was just like,
when they listen to ours.
No, we've had a good feedback from our podcasts, and I thought, that's nice for people to say. And then listen to like, like someone you've heard of. Honestly, it was so rubbish. So yeah,
I quite enjoy a bit of Frank Skinner, but I think when they're at home, it's a little bit different. All of these podcasts are a little bit different.
Yeah, it was crap. Honestly, it was crap.
All right, I just don't want to open ourselves up. That's all I'm thinking.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Keep warning you. No, it was crap. If anyone's listening, I won't bother listening to that. It's crap. It is though.
Oh dear.
And while we're on the subject, Iannone is a knob.
Well, have you seen the photo that Jorge Lorenzo put up with Iannone? They've obviously been together in Switzerland. For starters, I didn't realise Iannone lived in Lugano. But anyway, that's another thing. He's not only breaking the rules in terms of what is going into his body, but breaking the rules in terms of lockdown. But and I don't know what the rules are in lockdown, just to clarify. But Jorge says they met in person. He goes, he probably shouldn't have done it, but I believe him. That sort of thing. So that was quite interesting that I saw on Instagram.
I thought it was nice, actually. I've got to say, it was a very nice tweet, or I don't know where he put it. Was it on Instagram?
Yeah, something like that. Where he said basically, I always thought he was a bit of an idiot. We've never really talked, but hey, he was all right.
Yeah, and I believe him. I thought that was quite nice, actually.
Yeah, and in the motorcycle world, Neil, they have said that the Dorna have gone with now the Andalusian government and the sports body to the government of Spain, trying to get 2 rounds in Jerez, end of July, beginning of August. 2 rounds at the end of July. What do you think about that?
I mean, it sounds so promising. I read it today, and I'm like, oh my God! Like, after we spoke to Carmelo Espeleta, the boss of Dorna, and he was really positive. Then you read that, you're like, oh my God, this is going to happen. Unfortunately, my gut feeling is still saying it's too early.
Yeah,
they've got to get
lots
this past.
of water to go under the bridge, isn't there? And
Yeah.
they were saying how some people, and Cal might be one of those, that they need to put into quarantine for 14 days beforehand. So that's one of the questions I'd like to ask Cal. Would he be willing to? I'm sure he'd be willing to do it, but you couldn't do that every week, could you? You couldn't do that for the rest of the year.
No, I think the theory is, and I know you know this, is that they'll get everybody over to that part of the world and they'll keep them there, and we'll do a few rounds. And as that's going on, you hope, things around the world are changing, and we get in control of this virus, and we can go racing in different countries and hopefully different parts of the world.
Yeah, but at least, I mean,
it's positive, though, isn't it?
It's positive. It's positive from a sports point of view, isn't it?
Do you think it's going to happen, Gav?
I do. I've always said I didn't think it would be July. I thought it would be August and maybe in September, because of the things that you were saying. But what's happening next week, from when we're recording this, Germany is bringing back the football, so their Premier League, Bundesliga, is coming back, and that, I think it needs something like that, some confidence being put into the sporting system by a major event going ahead. I know UFC are doing something this weekend live in Florida, but they're not like a bellwether, are they? They aren't. Whereas football is, it is the biggest sport in the world, and so if that does something, it has protocols, things work, and so on and so forth. The other sports sort of go, well, they're doing it, so we should be able to, and they've been allowed by the German government to go behind closed doors. It's a very different situation over there because it's a national championship, but I think the likes of the Premier League and football in this country and maybe rugby, that kind of thing. Rugby's a bit different, big contact sport. But anyway, I just think it sets a tone, doesn't it, of what can be done.
Absolutely. So fingers crossed that goes ahead and everything runs smoothly. And like you say, I think it makes the decision easier.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like someone's already taken the flak for it. There's a lot more riding on it, and we know people's lives at stake here, across the board, and responsibility. So what responsibility do you have to wider society and that kind of thing? We're not going to discuss those things. We're talking from the sports point of view, purely as a sports survivor and carry on point of view. It's a positive step forward that something's been happening. And I know they're actually taking all the other side into account. They were saying how everyone's temperature is going to be checked. That having tests thing is a bit of a sticky wicket for me, because I think to be taking tests away when not everyone can get a test who needs one, so on and so forth, that's not a nice picture to paint, is it? But they are taking it all into account, which is important.
And we're talking about 2 months from now, aren't we?
Yeah.
In advance. You know what I mean? So you hope they're ahead of it and it's all sorted. Hang on a minute, I've just had another text from Mr. Cal. I'm ready, mate. He's ready.
Well, should we give him a call then? Yeah, let's do it. That's him. That's him beeping up on my Skype now. Right, 2 seconds and I'll give him a call. Now then, is that Cal?
No, it's fucking Donald Trump.
Oh my God, here he is.
Bloody
Donald.
hell.
We need help, Donald.
Are you doing the Don? Can you get motorbikes back on my telly, please?
Hold on, is this recorded yet?
Yes.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing anyway?
Yeah, good. Neil, all right?
Yeah, I was slightly jealous when you sent me the picture of the perfect blue sky. You did that on purpose, didn't you? You know me, I'm a bit of a sunbather.
I'm black. It's so hot here. It's honestly, it was when I messaged you. It was what, 9 o'clock?
Yeah,
and it was 27 degrees at 9 o'clock.
Wow.
So it's it's good to get out on the bike. Obviously, we're still able to go out here. So I got out early so I could get back and speak to you two.
Hey, it's a good part of the world, isn't it, where you live? Out there.
Oh, yeah, it's superb, for me, being able to ride the bicycle, and the weather's good. I've been in the pool every day, so it's great for training, good for the motivation. Normally, I know a lot of people and I ride with a lot of people here as well, but at the moment I just ride alone or with one other guy, and we just, I'm sat 3 hours a day. I just do 3 hours a day, and that's it. But I've done 3 hours a day for the last 20 days straight. So,
and that's Southern California, isn't it, Cal?
Yeah, San Diego,
Right.
near San Diego. Place called Rancho Santa Fe is where we are. It's perfect because you can head to the beach in, I don't know, on the bicycle it's probably 15 minutes to the beach, and inland to the mountains is probably 30-40 minutes. But it's hilly, it's hilly, but good weather, and obviously I come here in the winter as well, and the weather's even good then. It's it sits at 18-20 degrees most days then, but I'm not doing as much as what I would do in the winter because there's no point,
And have you got any mates out there? Are there any any other bikers who live in that area, or is it just cyclists you're hanging out with?
The strange thing is, a lot of the guys that do ride bikes, motorbikes, they ride the bicycles as well. Obviously, Josh Hayes is not far away. And when Josh was racing, he was riding his bicycle a lot more, so I would see Josh quite a lot. But I have quite a few friends here that ride on bikes, ride on track days, do a little bit of racing, and they ride their bike quite a lot as well. So it's good. It's good for the motivation, good fun, and we all seem to be able to meet over the week. Obviously not now, not at the moment, but especially in the winter when you're racking up big miles.
Cal, a lot of people ask me, because we know you do cycling, you're really serious about it. If you hadn't been a motorcycle racer, do you reckon you could have been a pro cyclist? Is that feasible?
I don't know. It's hard to say because, yes, if I'm in the shape that I'm in January, when I've done 2 months riding here, yes, I could go and race. I could go and race now, sure, and not embarrass myself. So if you do it as if I didn't race a motorcycle and you did it year round and as a profession, I think I could get in shape to be racing full time. Yeah.
Really? What about then, like the others? Because a lot of I don't know whether you were really the not the leader, but the one that got a lot of people into cycling in the MotoGP paddock. But a lot of the riders do it now, and which I didn't necessarily see so much before. But like Alicia Spargrove's right into it. Who are the ones who are in proper nick?
Yeah, they ride well. A lot of them do ride well, and they use it as a great training tool. Riding a motorcycle, you have to be fit, and people don't understand that. They think that you just twist the throttle and go. But I've tried to explain to people over the years of how physical and how hard it is. Cycling is the only thing that works for me because I had bad knees. I used to run a lot, but I had bad knees from when I played football, and the running was not going well, and my knees were hurting. So I started to cycle. This was probably 15 years ago when I was first starting out racing and doing it as a career. So I've always taken the bicycle as my part of training. Now, one thing that most of the other riders do is they do gym work, where I don't do it because I get too heavy. I put on too much mass. No matter what I do, I just have that body type that as soon as I start to touch weights, even do my own body weight stuff, push-ups, pull-ups, that sort of stuff, I just put on weight, and it's muscle, and you can't. That's my body type, and you want to be as light as possible for MotoGP.
Yeah, what's the ideal physique? Shut up! I know what you're about to say.
Gav's the same. If he looks at a weight, he just puts on weight, don't you? I mean,
if I look at a beer,
that's what I was going to say. His bicep curls are the pints.
Done well.
Yeah, you have 10 pints a night, so it's a lot of curls when you're sipping them back.
You wait till you see me back in the paddock, Cal. Over a stone has gone already. You'll see.
Yeah, gone up.
Hey, and I don't even have a bet riding on it like old Jake. I can't make Jake. You had that bet with you that time.
Jakey had the bet. And
tell us that story though. That's a good story for here. Go on.
Yeah, because people who don't know Jake, who's like the monster man in the paddock, isn't he? He's the one who looks after all you guys who are sponsored by Monster.
Yeah, Jake's one of my best friends, and even though he works for Monster and I work with him on a daily basis with regards to business stuff, he's our best friend. And a couple of years ago, he says, I'm going to get to 85 kilo I says, what? He says, you're dreaming, Jake. He says, right, give me a year. So this was at the Malaysia test. He says, give me a year. All year, he was out of control. He was just same as always, normal Jake. And we got to Malaysia, which is, you know.
Hang on, what did he weigh?
Sorry, we got to Malaysia race. So we got to Malaysia. We were at Malaysia test, and he was 118 kilo.
Oh my God!
He said he was getting to get to, excuse me, 85 kilo in a year. I said, Jay, I said, it's a tough ask, mate. I says, but I tell you what, I give you 20 grand if you can do it. It's a 20 grand bet. He said, okay. Thinking he's going to do it. So we got to Malaysia race, which is at the end of the year, so it's near November time, and he's 119 kilo.
Good old Jake.
That's amazing.
That's wrong. It was 10 grand, and then at Malaysia race,
right.
So he's put on weight. He's put on a kilo over the year instead of training and doing all the stuff. He said to me, I'm going to double it, 20 grand. And I've got basically 3 months till the Malaysia test. So a year, which was actually the Australia test. So it was a full year. He'd done nothing.
Did he consider amputation?
He'd done nothing for 9 months of the year. I said to him, I said, Jake, why don't you go and have a tummy tuck and all that? I said, it'll cost you 5 grand. I said, you might earn 15. But he got to Malaysia. He doubled the bet. It's 20 grand. He had 3 months to get to 85 kilo. I was just laughing the whole winter. I'm like, I'm 20 grand, no problem. Jake's going to owe me 20 grand. And then he's there and he's doing a bit of training. And he's ringing me saying, I'm losing weight. And he started to work with a bit of a trainer and this, that, and the other. Then I think he went on a few pills here and there.
Oh my God!
To get rid of it. Really.
Thank God he's not doing doping tests.
I will tell you this, mate. He turned up in Australia. He looked like a corpse walking around.
Oh.
He was honestly. He was 80. He was 88 kilo.
Oh my God!
With 3 days to go. So we're there in Australia, ready for this test. And I don't know how this actually worked. I'm out running with him at the time, trying to lose him weight so I lose 20 grand. Right? He's there running in bin liners. He's got 2 bin liners on. It's 40 degrees heat at this
he's
test.
Preparing for his heavyweight fight.
He's got these bin liners on. He's wearing a sweatsuit over the top of the bin liners. You've never seen anything like it. Anyway, the day of the weigh-in. So we agreed that it wouldn't be the first day of the test and it wouldn't be the third day. It'd be the middle day. So that's fair for both of us. Because I didn't want to give him one more day and lose 20 grand. and he didn't want to not do it on the first day. So we did it on the second day. Honestly, he weighed in at 86.4 kilograms. And he missed it by half a kilo because he had to be in the 85s.
Oh my God. Poor Jake.
I've seen Jake cry at a lot of things. I've seen him cry at my wedding, mine and Lucy's wedding. I've seen him cry, but I've never genuinely seen a guy break down in tears.
Having lost
saying, no, not listen, I never took the 20 grand off him, but that wasn't the point. It was that he never done it. He never got down to it. But what an effort.
Yeah, it's a cracking effort.
In 3 months,
I'm not sure how healthy it is.
I would have loved to have seen what he did on that 3 months or to get rid of that weight. That's a lot of weight to get rid of.
Well, he did it, right? And it was incredible. The worst thing was he was not having it. We were in the test in Australia. He's there, and we actually went to Suzuki to get their calibrated scales. We all have these calibrated scales. Mine weren't ready. He didn't want to use HRCs because he said he didn't trust that I'd tampered with them. Then we had a normal weighing scale, that like a Garmin weighing scale that I would stand on a normal day. And then we went to Suzuki, that was like the middle ground. So they calibrated it to the air pressure and all these things, and the height of of where you are above sea level and the temperature and all these things that you calibrate these scales to. And that's what he came out at. And he, honestly, they're wrong. They're wrong. I says, dude, these scales are probably 20 grand. The scale. I says, so, you know, they're definitely right. So he was there in the sauna. He turned up with Randy Mamola with a bottle of water in his hand, in a towel, and he just came out the sauna from the resort.
This is amazing.
It was the best, but he did really, really well.
Oh, it's a cracking effort, though, isn't it? Anyway, so hats off
I love
for that
Jake.
one. Yeah, we all love Jake. Leeds lad, another Leeds lad, you see.
With regards to Jake, that's probably the only viable story I can tell you on this podcast that wouldn't get him or anybody else arrested.
He's a machine, isn't he? He is a machine.
Yeah.
I love the man.
I just wonder now. We were just talking before we called you up, Cal. That Dorna have started talking about this date in July, and you were. I remember when we spoke to you on the Greatest Race about your victory in Argentina, which was going up into the final there. And you said that you'd wound back your training, as you say, doing 3 hours a day. Is that winding it back? Is that typical for you? And now that they're looking at the end of July, one, do you believe it? Do you believe it will happen? And two, does that change things of how you might prepare now?
Yeah, as I said, I just ride my bicycle. So in the moment, I'm enjoying riding my bicycle. I'm able to get 3 hours a day in, which is 21 hours a week. In the winter, in December, I'll normally do maybe a little bit more than that. But I'll eat and do whatever I want, you know, and don't look at my weight. Just enjoy to ride my bike, burn the calories, and get in good shape. Then in January, I tend to do a couple of 30-hour weeks and a couple of 25-hour weeks. And then I go to the Malaysia test. Now, obviously, I'm doing 21-hour weeks and just ticking away. I'm sort of eating what I want and not really worrying too much as well. But when we finally do get a date, you sort of set yourself a goal of ramping up or even calming it down. You know, I know what I normally do in between races on a general week that we would not have a back-to-back race, but like the one weekend in between, and then I'll start to do that sort of stuff, you know. But
so, what do you weigh? Just so people at home know, like, what's your how tall are you and what do you weigh? Because when people meet me, they always say, "Oh, you're much smaller than I thought you were going to be," and I always say, "Well, it's because most motorcycle races are relatively small. They're more like jockeys." How tall are you then, and what do you weigh?
Hold on. They don't say that to you, surely.
Yeah, they say your biceps look huge.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's never happened, but in my dreams,
you know what they should do is they say, "Oh, you've put on a bit of weight since you stopped."
I get that actually.
At the moment, I weigh 66.5 kilo.
What's that in real money then, Gav?
I don't know. Off the top of my head.
What is it? 10.5 stone. About 10.5 stone.
10.5 stone.
Wow.
And how tall are you? What are you? 5'7"?
5'7", yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey, not a bad guess.
10.5 stone. Nearly
10.5 stone.
Hold on. Can I splice that a little bit? I'm just over 5'7".
Okay. So that's not what Lucy told me.
I'm just over 5'7" on a good day. But I would say, you know, when I weighed in Malaysia at the test this year and last year, I was 64.7 kilo. So I'm like 1.5 kilo over what I was in Malaysia, which was, 2 months ago?
Bloody hell. You fat bastard.
In and out burger, isn't it?
You know.
You fat bastard. I can't believe it. Gav, where are you at?
What about this? This is how much muscle I put on over the year. So if we're talking in relative terms of what I do and how I carry on, my body fat in Malaysia was 6.6%. Wow. Now I'm about 7.1%. At the end of the year, racing year, obviously traveling, you're eating the hospitality, you're not training as much bicycle-wise for me. I go up to about 8% body fat, which is still not a lot, but it's about a kilo of weight, just over a kilo. With the 1% is just over a kilo of of body fat that you put on. But from the start of the year, I weighed in 64 point whatever kilo in Malaysia. And at the end of the year, I'm over 70 kilo and the rest is muscle. So I put on 4.5 kilo in muscle over the year.
Wow.
And that's not from training. That is from fighting a factory Honda, basically, for the season.
Yeah.
That's incredible, isn't it? That is incredible.
That's why I don't go to the gym. Imagine I went to the gym, continued to do a routine in the gym all the time. I've tried everything. I've tried doing big weights, small weights, loads of repetitions of different things, and it just doesn't work for me. I just put on weight, and I've done it for years, and I know what works for me. But I do know that with my body type and my muscle type, I put on 4.5 kilo over a season in muscle.
That's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, then you think about, I just think about the likes of Petrucci, for example, who was at mid-80s, wasn't he? Dropped it, he drop it down to 79 or something? But he looks like death, and we're hoping to speak to Danilo soon. He said that he'll come on and speak to us on the podcast.
The thing is, we all, as motorbike racers, you think about your weight, you think about being in the best shape, you think about me personally, how much I do on the bike, how many hours I do, how much distance, the speed, the power. Everything's done on power with regards to the bicycle, and I'll know how I'm feeling on the power meter. But it just shows when a guy that is, say, Marc, 64 kilo or whatever he is, he wins. And then you've got Danilo is 80. That's a 16 kilo difference. Then we're talking about one click of preload and a couple of clicks of compression on the fork and stuff like that. It just shows if you're riding good on the day and you're the best rider of that day, it doesn't matter if you're 16 kilos heavier or not, you can still win a MotoGP race.
Completely. And then the other way, Danny Pedrosa, who was down 53 at times, wasn't he?
Yeah. Sure, obviously different bikes, different manufacturers, but it just shows it's not all about training and how heavy you are and things like that. It's about you and your bike and how you feel with your bike on the day.
Yeah. Tell us this. We've chatted in the past about Marquez. Obviously, you get to see his data. You've told me things off camera that I'd like to chat to you about now, and I know you'll be open to talk about it. But get to see.
Why? Because is this because it's not on a camera and it's recorded?
Yeah, it's not on a camera, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. But you see Marquez's data, and I'll just do an impression of you. I'll walk in to see you. You're getting changed, whatever. And you'll go, Neil, you've just got to see his data. It's ridiculous. You've got to see it. Just explain what you can see in his data. And you've been racing for a long time now. You're 30. How old are you? 33 years old, 34 years old. You know what I mean? You've seen a lot of data, though, haven't you? You know what I mean? Explain why Marquez's data is freakish.
Marc is this incredible talent, a great guy to work with, to be able to not share a garage with, but be in the same manufacturer and work together with. But it's difficult to understand how he does it, because he wins when it's not capable of winning. Do you get what I mean? The way he can control the bike, the moments that he has, the way he slides the bike, his use of the rear and front brake is something very, very incredible. The one thing I will say is how much he can lock the front wheel. You could pick a 20-lap race, and I guarantee in some races he can lock the front wheel going into a corner maybe 3 or 4 times as much as what any other Honda rider does.
When you say lock, are you talking about in a straight line under braking or tipping in?
Both. So it's then about your brake control or the way that he rides, the way that he uses the rear brake, things like that. But only we see. on data we see the deceleration line, but when that deceleration line has a little jagged bit in it, it's the lock-in of the front wheel. Then it obviously unlocks and goes back into line. But say you have 6 of them little spikes on the jagged line, he might have 15 into one corner, you know, and he might have one that is 2 meters long, you know, but he'll do that for 20 laps and still win the race, and that's the way he rides, you know. It's incredible.
To a normal person, when it locks like that, that's normally pretty much a crash, is it?
To a normal person on the road, I'm not saying they wouldn't know what's going on. Obviously, we lock the front quite a lot of the time, and we understand that that's the way it is. But the lean angle that he can do it with, or the way if the bike's straight, how he can control it and not crash is something very, very spectacular. But it's the way he adapts to a situation in a race. Because as we know, he tests the limit a lot in practice and the qualifying, and he knows in the race what he has to do. But to be that sharp week in, week out, in every practice, every qualifying and every race, to finish first and second in every race in the championship on maybe a package that at some circuits was not as good as the others, but still be there or still win the race is, you know, it's hard to get your head around. But he's not unbeatable because he's been beaten in certain races. But he's an incredible talent, and it's good to be able to try and learn off him in one extent. But on the other hand, you don't want to learn off him, because if you do try and do what he does, it doesn't end well. You've got to sometimes try and do some of the stuff he does, but filter out the stuff that you can't do, and go from there.
And he's signed for another 4 years. HRC. Were you surprised? Are you surprised by that? Like a 4-year deal? I mean, none of us have ever heard of anything like that in the sport.
No, not really. I thought that he would re-sign with Honda, of course. Everybody thought it would be 2 years, as every contract goes. But why not? You know, if you had an offer sat on the table from HRC that you were very, very happy with, a great team, they back you 100% week in, week out, and they'll do whatever you ask as such, or whatever they can do with your request. Why wouldn't you? You know, it was obviously a great deal for him, a great deal for HRC and his team. Then I think that they've done the right thing.
Yeah, and what does that mean for you now? Because we know you've said that since that you were looking to get something on for next year. How has this changed it all? Actually, I'm intrigued by it. How this year, the fact that we're in May already, we haven't been racing. It looks like July's the very earliest we've been racing. So, how does that change your focus? I'm thinking because Valentino Rossi, people are saying, well, what's he going to do? You know, at his age now. But you know, originally, you'd been interpreted that, you know, you might see this as your last year. Since then, you've said, no, if there's something there, you'd be interested next year. So how has it changed your mindset with the way this year hasn't gone?
Well, I think that it brings into reality the motivation that riders still have, that obviously if you would have had a terrible year this year riding your bike, then it would have been easier to make a decision. But I also said at the end of last year that I wanted to carry on in 2021. As I stated the other day to you about it, I was quoted in an article saying, you know, maybe it's been my last year, and if it is, then I'd still be very happy with what I've done. I enjoyed it, etc. But it's the last year in my contract. So I also said when I renegotiated and did that extra year for the extension for this year, that it might be my last contract. But I don't believe it will be. And I don't really think the situation has changed with regards to me wanting to carry on next year either, with regards to us not racing. Do you get what I mean? I don't think that's changed my decision anyway, because I'd already before Malaysia and before any of this happened, I was already speaking to Honda about renewing anyway.
Cal, I was just going to say, for the people at home listening who don't really understand how it works, you sort of manage yourself. I don't know if you do it 100%, but talk us through the negotiations. Not obviously the details, but how does it work? Do you obviously first approach Lucio, or do you approach Honda, or do you approach other teams to say, I've got other options and offers? How does it work? Because I know people don't know anything about that side of it, and they're really interested.
For me, completely different to the others, because as you said, I manage myself. I've always been a guy that don't take this the wrong way, always done what I want to do. And that's not me saying I don't like to be told what to do, but I like to make my own decisions and it be on my terms with my family, and I don't want somebody pushing me in one direction or another for their benefit. My last, so how many years will it be? 16, 17, 18, 19. My last 4 years at least, 4 or 5 years, I've managed my own contract with everything: helmets, leathers, personal sponsors, and my negotiations with HRC. So, you get to a point in your career where you know what things are worth, you know what you need to do, you know what you need to say. And I don't need a manager sat there like a nodding Churchill dog when I make the decision myself anyway.
Yeah. You don't need the go-between guy. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
But it sounds like a lot of work at the same time.
Yeah, but how? I'm not saying this is not strange to say, but how much work can it be? Somebody offers you something, you either say yes or no. You go through the fine details, but the fine details are always going to be very, very similar unless you want something different and they want something different. A contract's not hard to read and not hard to understand. You have a lawyer look at it from both sides and you say yes or no. I've been in this sport long enough now to understand what I can and can't do, and what they expect of me and what I expect of them. I think it's strange that a lot of other riders don't do it, but actually, to me, when I look at the other riders, it's not strange. Because,
they're younger than you, a lot of them. So
yeah, and they can't, and listen, I had Bobby Moore manage me for a long, long time, and I believe that was the best thing that ever happened, because I learned a lot from him, and he pointed me in the right direction, and I needed it at that time. It's just I don't need it now, and I haven't needed it the last few years. Yes, I need some help with some things here and there, and I have people to help me with that, but not with regards to making decisions and speaking to manufacturers, teams, my team boss, which is Lucio, but my contract negotiation is always with HRC Direct in Japan and with Alberto, and it's worked very, very well, and I enjoy it a lot more than having maybe some deals on the table that you wanted that you don't get because you had a manager that didn't think you should have it, or which is going on in the paddock permanently.
Yeah,
and I like to be my own boss.
Yeah,
and I think that what I do, it works very, very well.
Well, it's a control thing, isn't it, really? Because it's like you want to be 100% control of your destiny. You don't want a manager courting other teams. A bit of bullshit, because that's part of it. You know what I mean? But because you're a straight shooter, it's like, no, I don't. This is what I want. I'll speak to the people because I know I need to speak to it. I totally get that. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I will tell you another thing as well that I do. I discuss everything with Carmelo. Carmelo's been very influential in my career with regards to when I was at Tech 3.
Just hang on, Carl, just so people that know at home, Carmelo is the boss of Dorna.
Yeah.
Dorner
Yeah,
is
sorry. Yeah.
the organisation that
MotoGP.
run MotoGP. He's the big cheese. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so I discussed stuff with Carmelo, and he's helped me out over the years, and with some decisions and maybe how to do some things, but and I think it's very good to keep Carmelo in the loop as well with regards to what's going on. He runs the championship. He wants the best of the best. He wants everything to work out for everybody. So he's always able to help in that way. Also, I'm in a great, strong position, and that I've won races. I've been in the podium every single year except for the first year in MotoGP. And MotoGP needs the British rider.
Yeah.
And I've done well. I'm not a British rider that is just any random rider. I've done well as well. So I've earned my spot and earned my place. And that helps when you're speaking to teams and doing the managerial stuff yourself as well, because they know what you can do. It's not, I'm not trying to sell myself here, not anymore. So yeah, I enjoy it. It's sure.
It's another challenge, isn't it? It's another challenge. It's another part of your job. You know,
I couldn't let somebody just manage me and say, okay, come back to me in 3 months with everything on the table. I like to be involved. I like to do something different. If I want to go and speak to somebody, then without the clauses in my contract, but you know what I mean, as in, if I want to go and speak to Honda about a renewal, I can go and do it without going to a manager saying, hey, can you go and speak to this, and then
find out where we're at.
But a lot of that now, it comes from your experience, and as you say, you're standing. You are the most successful British rider in MotoGP since Barry Sheen, because you're the only one to have won a race. But so you've earned your spot. You're there, and you know your value, and you know what you're worth. And it is different for other people. I sometimes call the managers the shit kickers. And I don't mean that in disrespect to Neil, who I know manages Alex, but it's someone who's there who can be the bad guy. You don't need that anymore, do you? Because you proved your worth.
Yeah, they're either going to say yes or no. I don't know how hard it can be.
Yeah.
Do they want to speak to you? Do they want you to ride their bike, or do they not? And it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And if I have such a good relationship with HRC, with Lucio first and foremost as my team manager, but also with Alberto. If there's anything to say or any problem, I pick up the phone, or they pick up the phone, and that's it. Instead of ringing a manager saying, "Oh, can you do this?" and "Can Cal needs to not do that," or whatever it might be. I've always been a guy that is as you said, straight talking.
Yeah, that's your that's your personality, isn't it? That's your you can handle the truth. Like just tell me what the issue is. You know. Yeah.
Or it can work both ways, not just an issue. I can ring them and say, "Great job on Mark winning the championship." It works both ways, and they can ring me and say, "You did a great job at the weekend." Instead of everything always going through a manager, etc. But I do think managers are good in some instances
if you're a young kid,
riders.
Exactly. If you're in your early 20s and you've no idea what your stock value is, what people get paid, you know what I mean?
Sure.
You could get taken advantage of, basically.
And it's not just about being paid. It's about looking after your interests.
Yeah. What's the best opportunity?
The best opportunity. The amount of times that I've maybe took the best opportunity, i.e. when I moved from World Superbike to MotoGP, instead of just the deal that is on the table.
Best paycheck and then.
Exactly. And that's when I think Bobby was good with regards to my career. He set me in the right place at the right time, and it's gone very, very well from there, even with me doing some of my stuff in the last years. I do think managers are good if you have the right one, because
Mhm.
there's a lot of sharks out there, as we know, and as a lot of the riders know and have found out. So I believe the way that I do it suits me well, and I enjoy to do it.
Carl, here's a question for you then. So you're, what do you say you are, 34? Are you 34?
You said 33, so I'll
You're
take
going to take that. Okay, so you're 32, right? You're 32. Tell me, you're in the MotoGP paddock. You're well aware of what's going on. Where is the next Cal Crutchlow coming from?
I wish it was an easy answer, because it's so difficult. There's nothing more than what I would love is to see some more British guys in MotoGP. I think John McPhee, Sam Lowes, Jake Dixon, and all these guys are doing a great job in the lower classes, and I'd love to see them move up. I think on the right package, they could do better than what they've done. You know, obviously we know some of the rookie riders coming into MotoGP, it's easier on some bikes than others. But I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
But is there anyone on your radar that you'd look at and you go, this kid's definitely on his way up at the moment, or not?
I would feel bad for saying not, but because that's not the case. I think some of these guys in the British Talent Cup can make it. Honestly, I really, really do.
So we have to look that far down. Do you see the route?
The problem that we have is how long it is going to take from British Talent Cup to be in MotoGP.
Yeah, it's a long time.
I will be long gone by then.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Well, it was the case with Bradley Smith and Scott Redding. They were in the academy, and at the time it was like, well, that's going to be the next protocol really in MotoGP. You came along in the interim, and actually have stuck out there longer. But it's a similar sort of thing where it was a long-term goal.
And Bradley and Scott were great, as was Eugene, as was some of the other British riders that have been able to ride in MotoGP, either a wild card or for a year or half a year or whatever they may have done in them years that I've been there. And I think that they are very, very good riders, but maybe they just didn't have the right bike and the right opportunity. And then if you don't have the right bike and the right opportunity, sometimes you also don't ride at your best level. And you know how it goes. You have one bad weekend, the next weekend's even worse, the next weekend's even worse. Then you have a good one and you have a good result in the next one, but it isn't good enough to keep your ride or get a better ride and probably what they deserve. It's a hard game. It's a hard sport.
What path should it be though now, Cal? Should it be should be people looking at Moto3 and coming through, or should they do the way you did it?
Obviously, the way I did it worked for me, but it doesn't always work. The Moto2 and Moto3 kids are great riders, as we see now. Brad Binder, I think he's going to go very, very well on the bike that he's on, and he's came through Moto3 and Moto2. But I also think you could take 4 or 5 riders in World Superbike and put them in MotoGP, and they do well. So it's hard to say. I think the production-based bikes now in BSB level, whether it be Supersport or be in Superbike, I think they are closer to MotoGP than what everyone thinks. Sure, the feeling is different. Our bikes are aggressive, hard to ride, really stiff. The tires are different. It's literally like a Formula One car and a Ford Focus. But I think that gap has been reduced over the years. That they are closer as a standard bike you can go out and ride to a MotoGP bike. I think they're closer now. So I think the gap is smaller to be able to have to learn. These bikes, as standard now, have a lot of electronics on.
Yeah. Is there anyone at the moment at BSB level that you're thinking, I tell you what, this kid's pretty special, he could make it? Or do you not follow it that closely?
Honestly, Neil, I feel bad that I would sit there and say no, because I'm not saying no. I'm saying I don't know. I don't know enough about it to be there week in, week out, to be able to watch it week in, week out, or what package they're on. Is their package good enough? And, maybe is their team good enough? And they're actually way faster than what the bike they're on and their team they're riding for. Because all that can be part of it. I hope so. I hope so. I think Stuart Higgs and the teams and the riders in BSB, the level of that is fantastic. I love watching it when I can watch it. It's been great racing over the years, but is there any kids? Because we're looking here at Fabio Quartararo's 20 years old, standing week in, week out on a MotoGP podium. The people, this is not being derogatory, the people in BSB that are at the front are a little bit less than my age, so their likelihood to come to MotoGP is very, very difficult. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it makes it difficult, doesn't it?
So it's the kids we need to look at.
Well, that's why Jake going to Moto2 is something. I mean, Jake's still early 20s,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the right thing, isn't it?
Doing the right thing, and I'm so glad that he's got a second year. But yeah, it is a tough one, isn't it, to even think about it, because it's got to be a long road. It's not, you don't jump BSB to MotoGP, do you, basically?
No, but I mean, also, you have to remember these manufacturers and the team managers, they're looking at kids. They're looking at Quartararo 5 years ago when he was in the cup that he was in. And
the Junior World Champion.
Yeah,
exactly. And so they're not looking, unfortunately, they're not looking for a 25, 26, 27-year-old guy to come and race in MotoGP. They're looking for the future. And that's what's difficult, is we need to find a great bunch of kids and that can come in and be these Marc Marquez and the Quartararo.
Which is why you mentioned the Talent Cup. You know what I mean?
You
didn't mention BSB.
That's not that I don't mention BSB, because
no. You're saying you've got to look at the youngsters, the 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds.
Yeah. And I think that they're doing a great job with that British Talent Cup. Honestly, it's not an easy thing to run, and it's not an easy thing to pick some riders out of. But I love it. I love being able to go out and watch, and if I can speak to them and see them and try and give them some advice. I know my advice might be different to a lot of other people's advice, but you have to be normal in a world that a lot of the times is not normal. And as long as they're enjoying it and they're doing a good job, then there's no reason why some of these guys can't come up.
No, and at this moment, because it's still, we're 2 years in, it's not paying dividends yet, is it? You know what I mean? We've not had anyone that's progressed, but they will. Exactly, but it needs time, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's the reality. And the other reality is you can bounce championships. This guy's 14, 15. He can be in MotoGP by the age he's 20.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If, say, he went to Moto3, he had a not too bad year. Then the year after, he went really well in Moto3. Then the year after, he went to Moto2. Then maybe the year after, he goes straight to MotoGP.
And especially if there's no British riders in MotoGP at the time, don't need to fast track someone up. Yeah. That's how it works. Yeah.
And I think, you have to have talent to be in MotoGP. And you have to, I'm not just saying any British rider will be in MotoGP because they need a British rider. But the reality is they want a fast British rider that's competitive.
Well, we've had years without them. We have had a couple of years.
And I hope there's some going to be able to come up.
I'll tell you this story just to make you laugh, right? So my mate Dickie, who's a really good mate of mine, I've mentioned him before on this podcast.
Pork Scratching's Dickie, as he's known.
Pork Scratching's Dickie, right? So he said to me the other day, he said, Neil, if you spent all winter on any bike in MotoGP you wanted, doing a pre-season test, you could do all the tests like everybody else. Come the first race, where do you think you'd finish on the whatever bike? So let's say the Yamaha's appears to be the easiest bike to ride. So I went, all right, yeah, okay. So I've got all winter on it, like everybody else. I turned up at the first race. Where would I finish? He went, yeah. I went, well, I'd be last. And he went, you are? I went, I'd be last. And he went, Carol Abraham would beat you. And I went, he'd thrash me. Of course he would. And I think what people don't understand is that we're talking about the absolute best riders in the world. It's funny that people presume, because I then said, yeah, that's Carol Abraham, who in some sessions is 1.5 seconds off Marc Marquez. On a bike, that's not as good as Marquez's, really. On a team, that's not as good as Marquez's. So, you know what I mean? I think people lose touch of reality of, to get on that grid, you have to be something so special, haven't you?
Yeah, and I do think there's some riders in other championships that could be on the grid and be better than some of the riders on the MotoGP grid, no doubt. But
there ain't many. You know what I mean?
No,
really, there's a handful.
There's not a load, or else they'd be there. The other thing is a lot of guys ride GP bikes better than what they ride other bikes because that's all they know.
Yeah.
I honestly believe if you went and put, let's just take Quartararo for an example, and he's an example. If you went and put him on something that was not a GP bike, I think that he would struggle more than somebody coming to MotoGP because it's a completely different feeling. So is the jump back easier or is the jump there easier? It's hard to say. So
if you put Quartararo in World Superbikes this year on a BMW, he wouldn't be on the podium. And that's not.
I don't know.
Well, you'd have to say probably wouldn't be though. You know what I mean? Like it's like maybe I'm not saying the BMW's bad, but there's not been many. You know, he'd struggled to beat Tom Sykes, and I know what you might think. No, he'd destroy him, Neil. I'm sorry. It might not because of getting on the Pirelli.
It's a different thing. But if they came and rode with him, say they both went to Yamaha at the same time, but both had never ridden in MotoGP. So Quartararo came from Moto2 and somebody came from World Superbike.
Well, Tom Sykes came from Superbikes. Then Quartararo would be the man, wouldn't he?
And they rode together. Then, you know, I think that because Quartararo rode his GP bikes, even Moto2, I think that then he's still going to be at the front. Where that jump for a World Superbike rider might be different or more difficult. It's hard to say. You know, we don't see it enough anymore to be able to give a valued opinion on it, unfortunately.
No, I totally agree. And it doesn't look... Think about World Superbikes now. Think about where MotoGP's at. And in a way, Marquez has half spoiled it, but Quartararo has completely spoiled it. There is nobody looking at World Superbikes going, right, you know, like people say...
hold on. And Alex Rins came from Moto2 and he's now star in Suzuki.
Yeah, exactly.
And Maverick Vinales had a couple of Moto2 wins. And I don't know how many he had, but, you know, I don't remember him winning every week. And now he's a star at Yamaha.
Yeah, true.
Unfortunately, they're not going to look in World Superbike.
No, well, Top Rack's like the young gun, isn't he? And how old's Top Rack? I don't know how old he is. 24, 25. I don't know what he is. But you know what I mean?
I don't know.
But you know what I mean? Exactly.
You know,
it's a but.
You know what I'm saying? It'd be nice for him to move across, honestly.
I agree.
It'd be great for him to move across. And who's to say that they won't take a gamble on him? Because I think he'd go well. And if he's going to ride for Yamaha is a good bike for him to come in on as a rookie, that's sure.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Gav, we're at that point for the quickfire round.
I know, but I was hoping that I'd have created you a jingle by now, but I'm afraid to say I'm behind. I can't believe we missed out on the opportunity of having James Toseland on here. We didn't get him to sing a jingle for us. Gutted about that. But
what we'll do,
I won't ask
call
Cal to
James.
sing one.
We'll call Jay.
Can I just tell you something? Can I just tell you something?
Go on.
This is like a chat between three mates that we would have on a normal Saturday or Sunday
Exactly.
or something at a race meeting. So I will tell you, I've not listened to one of your podcasts. So
What?
This is like
Cheers,
this is like just speaking to you on the phone.
This is exactly what we thought. We thought we wouldn't make it to interview it. We'd just talk shit really with our mates. And
Yeah, you didn't actually know. Welcome to Gas It Out. You are on the podcast at this moment in time. Sorry about that. We've just dropped it on you. But what Neil likes to do, I'll let him explain. I mean, we just let him.
Yeah, I explain it much better than.
He gets a little bit touchy at this point after an hour.
Right. So what happens is everything we've talked about is basically a build up to the quickfire round, where I ask you some really in-depth questions. Now, don't get me wrong.
For fuck's sake, you could have just done this at 20 minutes.
I know. Listen, I know you manage yourself, so you're used to like some hard-hitting questions. But
Yeah. Can I just tell you something, right? When I send the invoice, I'll add on the extra.
Oh, hang on.
Hold on, we've done.
Oh, that line cut. Has the line cut off?
15 minutes.
Did he say invoice? Damn. See, this is why we don't, Gav, in the future, never speak to a rider that manages himself. All right. Okay. Right. First question, Cal. What's your favourite alcoholic drink?
Do I have to answer in one thing?
Well, what's your favourite drink? Like,
unless you got a story about it.
I'm teetotal. Don't drink.
Since when?
Since 8 years ago.
When I first met you, you were leathered.
Oh, no doubt. I've got a picture. Did Lucy send you that picture?
Yeah, that's a good picture.
Was this exactly? Is this the one where you were throwing shandies in the plant pots?
No.
But it was like 1999 or something. I went to the BSB Awards and Haji must have won, and I'm looking up to him like he's some sort of god. It's incredible.
How wrong can one man be?
What's funny is Carl's like a scruffy chav, and I'm there in like a dicky bow
and that. Yeah. Oh my god! I was thinking this guy's a lunatic.
Brilliant! I loved it. Okay, so
hold on. Roger Burnett by your side with his briefcase there.
All right, shut up.
I'm there thinking I'm managing myself.
I'm not having any of that bullshit.
But what would it have been then? What would it have been a drink then? A beer or a spirit?
Yeah, I'd say beer.
Beer. Good lad. Can you cook?
No, not at all.
Okay, no problem. Dream teammate? Good question.
Difficult.
I know for Neil's answer would be someone slow, but
yeah,
exactly. But
I'd have Carol Abraham.
The dream. Are you talking about the dream teammate that I've had or that I want?
That you want. Dream teammate. I'm retired. So you can mention me. I don't mind.
Oh yeah, dream teammate. Troy Bayliss.
Okay.
Okay, but if we're talking about a teammate that I could have or have had or potentially have, I would say Dovizioso, because we brought out the best in each other.
Yeah, I love Davi. He's a good guy, isn't he? Rossi or Marquez?
What about him?
Well, I've just put the names down on a piece of paper. I've never really thought what the question was. I just read out the names. I've no idea. Do you want to fight them? Do you want to
He's saying this
go on holiday with them?
He's saying this because on BT this weekend we're doing 2015.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay, I'll answer it. I'd rather race Valentino in a race than race Marc, because the likelihood of getting beat by Marc is probably more than getting beat by Valentino.
Yeah. Two more questions. Cadwell Park or Alton Park? Favourite track?
Alton Park.
Nice one. Right, last question. And really,
I don't usually think things are dangerous. I used to ride around Cadwell thinking this place is narrow.
Oh God, it's narrow. Oh my God. It's like you're on a go-kart track, isn't it? And then you're on a super bike.
I loved it.
I know it's amazing, but you're like, This is going to go so wrong.
This place is narrow.
Yeah, someone's going to get hurt here. This is just not funny, is it? Right. So, we've had a build-up, right? So we had the first part, we've had the questions, but we've got the main questions here. So you've been around for a bit. You've been in MotoGP for a lot of years now, got a lot of experience, and you're very fortunate that BT Sport cover MotoGP now. They have done for the last 7 years. Yeah. Over those 7 years, who is your favourite BT Sport pundit?
Do you want me to give a comment on every one of them?
No, God.
Just give us your favourite, really. Just,
okay. Marco Lavi.
Oh, you absolute bastard.
Loves the boffin. Just loves the boffin. That's what it is.
The boffin. Hey. Actually, we all love the boffin, actually. Fair play.
As a racer, when you sit and watch it, you don't actually like somebody knowing what is going on too much. And he does know what's going on.
He's good, isn't he? He's bloody good.
Sure, he puts a bit of splice on it here and there because he has to for the TV and that. But, yeah, he knows what's going on. Keith, he has no idea. The only thing that Keith knows, he's great at commentating on the races, the enthusiasm, everything. But technically, the only thing he knows is the air conditioning unit in that place, in the
in the commentary box.
Yeah,
and it's not on. Trust me, it's not on. We get absolutely roasted in the commentary box. Julian used to end the day looking like he'd been in the shower.
Yeah. Oh, we love it.
Good. It's good. It's great. Love working with you guys at the track, and
yeah. Well, we hope you get back soon. Are you missing
hopefully
it?
We're back soon.
Yeah.
Are you missing it?
Oh yeah. And it's strange because I don't usually miss it. I love to race. I love to be competitive on the starting grid and race. And you always want to keep coming back for that, but I feel that I want to come back because I'm missing it. Which is it's great. It's a great feeling to have because it shows that you still motivated and want it. And have the desire to do it.
And often you are one of the first out because you want to get home, want to go and see Lucy and Willow and that. But what if now? Because they were talking about this 14-day quarantine possibility. Would that affect you?
Well, I don't know. If I can't go against the government's advice.
Yeah.
I'll work it out as and when, and I'll keep in close contact with Carmelo like I do anyway, as to when we think we are racing and when we're not, and when I'll come home and when I need to prepare to go to the first Grand Prix.
Right, well, let's hope that it is at the end of July and into August, and we get to see you back on track soon. Thanks a lot for sticking indoors, even though it sounds beautiful over there in California. Not jealous whatsoever. Leeds actually looks well today.
Thanks, Cal. Love your honesty, as always. Great catching up.
No problem. And, I hope everybody is doing well. I think that's one thing that we need to touch on is that, it's a difficult time for everybody at the moment. And hopefully everyone's doing well and keeping safe and respecting the guidelines of the governments as well. And with regards to racing motorcycles, hopefully we'll be back soon, but this is not the biggest thing in the world. We love it more than anything, but we have to clear this up and see if we can get back on track for everybody to be safe and healthy before we go back racing. And when we do, we'll hopefully be able to put on the best show in the world again.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe even with back-to-back races at the same time. Could be a bizarre old season, but Cal, we do appreciate it. Thanks a lot, mate, for giving us a call. And hopefully we're talking again soon.
Top man.
Hope so.
Send our best to Lucy and Willow, won't you?
I will.
All right.
Cheers.
Speak soon.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, good to have a catch up with Cal Neil, isn't it? Always and always forthright. I don't think I said anything for about an hour there because he's just got opinions and he's happy to tell you about them. But I hope people appreciate finding out a little bit more about training, about weights, and what level the riders are at in MotoGP, and then who the next cab off the rank is, because all that sort of stuff. When we speak to Cal a lot, and I'm sure people have heard interviews with him, but you can ask the same old stuff. But it's good to get, isn't it? Just that little bit of rider insight of what's actually going on in the world of MotoGP at the moment.
Well, it's total honesty, isn't it? There's no flannel, is there? There's no PR spin on it because he manages himself.
No PR, no BS.
Exactly. He's happy where he is in life. Everything's good, and he'll tell you what he thinks. And sometimes he'll say something where you go, "Oh, that's maybe not the right thing to say," but he don't care. He's just being honest, and I love that about him. And that's what we got then, wasn't it? Obviously, that was. And like you just said, we speak to Cal all the time, and sometimes we get some golden bits off Cal. And then we'll get him on camera, and Cal's Cal on camera. But I always think I wish we could get more of Cal on camera, just to get more of the truth of what's happening in the paddock. Do you know, when there's things going on and people are skirting around?
But there are times when he's guarded with us, when he's in team shirt and he's in the truck, and we're doing an interview in front of all the other press, where he won't ever tell a lie, but he'll be guarded because he's been told to be, or you can't say something about that. He'll deflect. And
then he'll text me and say, and he'll say, "Come round to my motorhome later. I'll tell you what's going on with Alex Marquez." And I'm like, we go off air, don't we? And I'm going around to Cal's. But the problem is, then Cal will tell me something, and because he told me in secret, I can't then obviously betray his trust and go on air and go, "Oh, by the way." So then I'm like, oh my God, I'm so annoyed now. I actually know the answer to this one, but I'm having to pretend I don't know. But no, I love Cal. He's a good lad. And what's sad about it is when we ask Cal the question, and I know me and you sort of feel the same, where's the next Cal Crutchlow coming from? And there's not a lot of names jumping to your mind, are there? I mean, Sam Lowes, Jake Dixon are doing a great job, but are they going to get... I mean, Sam's had to go in MotoGP, obviously with Aprilia, that didn't work out, but can Jake Dixon do it? Well, I like to think he can.
Yeah, me too. I do.
But there's a lot's got to happen.
Exactly. And there's one thing. We didn't give Cal the big build-up like we normally do our guests, because obviously he was ready to speak to us straight away. But Cal has achieved. He's achieved in MotoGP.
Absolutely.
He's won 3 races. And people say, yeah, but won 3 races, he hasn't won a championship or anything like that. He's won 3 races in one of the toughest eras of all time. But he's the first British rider to win races since Barry Sheene. That's a fact.
Yeah. And are you the same as me? I walk around in bike shows or wherever I am, and people will go, I don't really rate Cal Crutchlow.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You feel like shaking the person. You're like, yeah, because I tell you what I know is really easy right now is MotoGP. I tell you what, let me have a go at MotoGP because I think I could win that championship. Not, you know what I mean?
That's exactly it. But and I also think he's right. He's right in what he says. When he came across, he's made the most, and other people might have made the most of a similar opportunity, but he has made the most of that opportunity, and you can't knock him for that.
He had the balls to do it.
Exactly.
He had the balls to take that risk because he was in Superbikes. He was embedded there. He'd had a great year. He'd been offered big. It was. He didn't say this, but he was offered more money to stay in Superbikes, a load more money to stay in Superbikes than go to MotoGP. But he thought, do you know what? Fancy me chances against them boys. I'm going to give it a go, and he did. And that took balls, which that's one thing we know Cal's got plenty of. So fair play to him. That's what I say. Fair play to the lad.
Yeah, and as he said, managing himself now, he can make his own decisions. And it sounds like to me that it's already on the table. And it sounds actually, not just from him, it sounds like he'll stay and carry on. It sounds like Rossi is almost, I don't know, he says he'll make his mind up. I can't see that him going out on a whimper, Rossi.
Not at all. Rossi's staying in team. I think we don't know it, but...
And it'll be a case of Yamaha will go to that Petronas team, go to the Sepang team and say, look, we've signed Fabio. We've got to have Fabio in the team next year. Look, this year hasn't panned out. Do us a favour. Do everyone a favour. Do the championship a favour. Let's keep Valentino in for another year. And I don't think they need too much pushing to keep Valentino Rossi in your team, but there might be in terms of how much you have to pay him for the year. You know?
Oh, do you think that's going to happen? I always thought that they'd honour the contract and Quartararo would go to the factory team.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, is that what you're saying? Yeah, but they say to the Petronas team, obviously you're going to have Valentino, but you'll have Valentino on the absolute best.
Exactly. My point being is, exactly. That's not going to be a hard one to thrash out. Do you want Valentino on your team? My point is the cash might be there.
Yeah.
The amount that you might have to pay him, you might need some assistance somewhere along the line is my point.
Yeah, exactly.
Not saying Petronas are poor, but...
I was about to say that. I don't think Petronas are skint. So, yeah, I don't think that's an issue. Put any team in the world, if they said, we've got some really bad news for you, you're going to have to put Valentino on your books for a bit. Every team I know in the world would be like, oh my God, we can get Valentino to ride our bike. Every sponsor will pay 10 times what they've ever paid before.
Exactly. And of course, it'd be him and Morbidelli probably. And it's like a VR46 kind of thing. It's got all the ingredients there. It'd be ideal. They've said it's not going to happen between himself and Lorenzo. But and in terms of Cal, it sounds like I think a lot of people there might be a lot of 1-year contracts going around.
Yeah.
That's what I get the feeling.
Yeah. Well, the main men are all signing up for 2 years, aren't they? That's what it appears to be.
Honda's...
Well, they have done, haven't they?
Hasn't been decided, but Yamaha has, and Suzuki has. It's Ducati where the interest can happen, and Ducati can sometimes make interesting decisions here and there. So it will be interesting to see there. But, it's going to be an interesting time if and when we get back racing in MotoGP. But there's a lot of bridges to cross before that happens, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But if live sport starts coming back, then there might be an avalanche happening after that in terms of things getting going. Behind closed doors seems almost certain if it were to happen anyway. What are you up to before? This is hopefully when we're recording this on a Thursday evening. But I just wonder what you're doing between now and the greatest years on Sunday, because are you in trepidation about what you might have to say on Sunday? Bear in mind we're doing 2015, those who don't know.
No, I actually am. You know me with BT. I love the job. I'm never really nervous about what I've got to say, but we're gonna analyse the 2015 season. It's the most talked about season in the history of MotoGP. It really is, isn't it? It's the Marquez Rossi clash. It's the Lorenzo Rossi, battle for the championship, and it is tasty. There's a lot to talk about. I've actually prepared, believe it or not, I'm going to analyse the incident between Rossi and Marquez at Sepang.
Oh,
and I've prepared a few lines, which is not like me. Normally, I'll have a rough idea in my head and just say it. But there's a few things I want to get across just to be clear, so I don't offend people. But also, I'm true to myself, to be honest.
It is one of those things, and we're hoping, fingers crossed, to speak to Livio Super at the time, and I've seen a comment he's put out in the last few weeks. Now he can talk a bit freer, where he said, if you're a Marquez fan, you're going to believe this. If you're a Rossi fan, you're going to believe this, and never the twain shall meet. And that's pretty much how it is, isn't it? And we hear that all the time.
We hear that, on a weekly basis almost, don't we?
Yeah.
Because if we say anything good about Marquez, we get berated by the Rossi fans and vice versa. And it comes back down, a lot of it comes down to that race. And we're going to analyse it. So, yeah, I'm sort of looking forward to it. Well, I'm not sort of looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, but I've had to prepare.
Yeah, but no.
What I'll do is I'll make sure I don't drink too many Kronenbergs before we go live on air.
Please don't. Well, especially as well.
Can you tell I've been slurring? I've been slurring a bit on this podcast.
Yeah, we have.
Can you tell?
Yeah, I'll try and get it out on the equaliser.
All right.
We'll see what we can do. Right, I will speak to you later on then. We'll speak to you on Sunday. And for everyone who's been tuning in again, appreciate your support. Keep liking and subscribing and telling your mates and all that about it. And keep coming up with ideas of how we might get Neil's audio over to here a little bit. Honestly, it's got to the point where I'm thinking about sending him a voice recorder. You're not praying at the porcelain god, are you?
No, I'm not. I just did a beer burp. Sorry. Hey, listen.
This is professional, isn't it?
For everyone who's been listening, and also Gav, don't forget, I love you, man.
Oh God, it's even worse when he's had a few ales.
No, I do though. I love you. I love you so much. You're such a good friend, and we've worked together now for 7 years. We've not had a crossword. You're such a sound character. You're a top man. I genuinely love you. I do love you, Gav.
I'm gonna have to get going now, so I'll speak to you soon anyway. All right.
Love you, man. Love you.
You take care, and everyone at home, take care too.
Thanks for listening.
Speak to you soon. Cheers.
Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Note to self: don't drink. I'm Vic's been feeding me with beers whilst we've been doing it as well, so I'm leathered.
Oh, God. Right, speak to you later.
Top man, love you, Gav.
Yeah.
See you, mate.